Welcome to Taking Control, everybody, the ADHD podcast. I'm Pete Wright, and that there is ADHD coach Nikki Kinzer.
Hello, Pete Wright.
How about that?
I know, right? Exciting stuff.
Very exciting stuff. We are back after a little bit of a hiatus. Took a couple of weeks off, but we are back for the summer and very excited about it.
Yes.
And let me just say, if I may,
please.
We got some really nice comments from people.
I did. It was very nice to get different emails, Facebook, little, whatever, updates, whatever they're called, Twitters.
I think it's tweets. I think it's tweets.
Tweeters.
You sound really old when you say Twitters.
I know, right?
All right,
social
Grandma.
Media. I
got
know,
some
right?
social medias out of it.
Yeah, I actually, that's funny that you mentioned that, because the other day I was on my Facebook post, I had put a posting on there about a documentary about ADHD, and I almost wrote, I taped this program, and then I deleted it really quick, and I was like, I recorded it. I'm like, gosh, that really ages me. I taped it. What am I thinking? So yes, but anyway, off.
And then you promptly screamed, "Get off my lawn!" at some young toughs.
That's right. That's right. Yes, but we did, we got some great feedback and some great response and support from people, and I really, really appreciate it. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening to us and to continue to listen to us. I did get a couple of emails of people who were disappointed. I totally get it. I understand. And I certainly wish you the best of luck in your organizing adventures, but I still think you're probably going to find good stuff here too, even if you don't have ADHD. I think we talk about really fun and exciting stuff, right, Pete?
Well, we really do. And, some of those comments were hard. I mean, you really feel like there are folks who were not just disappointed, but hurt.
Right.
That we were somehow doing something to hurt them. And that is so far from the intention here.
Absolutely.
And so
very from it.
I deeply hope that those folks who if you're still hanging on at all and you're hurt, that there are so many other great podcasts out there that are just about organizing and maybe don't have the same sort of intention around ADHD that we do. So I hope you find them and find some support and peace in them. That's it. But big thanks to who is my favorite person of the day.
Who's that?
Danica LeBlanc.
Oh.
Yeah, Danica LeBlanc, photography, as far as I gather, who wrote a whole blog post on our episode 162. Danica is my favorite person of the day, officially.
I know. Me too. That was very kind.
Yes.
Very nice words. Mm-hmm.
But thank you to everybody who wrote in. And so here we go. Let's talk about what we are talking about today. Oh, my goodness. Seeing as how I'm going on vacation Friday.
Is it planned? Do you have your airline tickets?
It is. I have. That's about as far as I've gotten, actually. Okay. That is seriously as far as I've gotten. This end of year, the graduation festivities. Oh, my goodness. It hit me this morning as I'm plowing through kind of catching up work that I have 4 days to get everything done.
Yes.
4 days. And then the first podcast, as if you are sticking a knife in the wound, is all about planning a vacation at the last minute.
It is. So the good news, though, Pete, is that you have, where you're going and you have airline tickets. But there are some people that may be going on vacation or supposed to be going on vacation, and they have no idea where they're going, and certainly do not have any tickets to get them there.
Right.
And so I thought that this would be a great topic, because I've actually had a client before be stuck in the situation where his wife kept talking to him like, okay, we're supposed to go on vacation in July. Where are we going? Have you reserved anything? We better hurry up. And of course, what does this do? This adds so much stress and anxiety. And unfortunately, he kept, procrastinating. And I think he did actually find something in the last minute, but I thought, well, this would be a good topic to cover and just give you some ideas of maybe what to do if all of a sudden July is sneaking up on you and you don't have a place to go.
Can I just may I interject?
Yeah, please.
So here's the thing that happens for me, right?
Yes.
Is I have because I have so many things going on in my head at any given time, I do a lot of fake planning. Right? Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of fake planning that goes on in my head where I will convince myself quite easily that I have already planned for this vacation, that I have already, gone out and bought that fancy new a tropical island shirt, that I have already stopped the mail from being delivered for a little while, that I have done all those things, and I am so convinced that I've done them that I end up not actually doing them. And so that happens, I think, that happens frequently around these big trips. And part of it is because I know ultimately I'm never quite ready to go until I'm gone. Right. And so I'm always rushing around the last minute to do other stuff to get ready to leave. But then I end up suffering because I've forgotten to do the stuff that I really needed to do to prepare. So fake planning.
Fake planning. And I have some good news for you that I'm going to talk about at the end. In fact, you helped me develop this checklist, if you remember.
I love that.
Right. So we will make sure that you cancel your mail or redirect your mail.
Right, because I thought maybe I had fake developed that checklist.
You did not. It's real.
That's a real thing?
It's in the downloads.
You can touch it?
You can touch it. You can print it. You can check it off. That's right.
All right. Well, where would you like to start?
Let's start with the whole fact of you just don't know where you're going. And so I have 4 different things for you to think about, like if you're trying to figure out where to go. One is definitely think outside of the box, which basically means where are people not going? So planning a trip to Disneyland or some other kind of like major theme park at the very last minute is probably not always the best thing. So where else could you go? And that's where I would encourage you to kind of think of areas or places that maybe not a lot of people would think of that would still have availability. One time, oh gosh, it was a few years ago, but we went to a ski resort in the summertime and it was fantastic. It was so much fun. It wasn't as crowded, but there were still a lot of different things to do that you would never have thought that they even were options, but they were. So, just kind of think outside the box and be creative is definitely an idea. Second idea, and I'm sure, have you ever gotten a Groupon or gone through Living Social?
And how?
Yeah, right?
Oh, my goodness. The best one, for me, I'm a movie nerd, so I get movie tickets all the time.
All the time, that's right. Well, if you notice, a lot of times those sites will have great deals. Usually they are for a specific period of time, so you have to do your research, make sure you read the fine print, and make sure that the rules apply to you. But look at Groupon and Living Social and see, what places are available at good rates. Do you ever watch The Middle? Are you a fan of the TV show The Middle?
Wasn't this used to be Malcolm in the Middle?
No. This is a show that's on now. Yeah, with I can't remember her name. Patricia Heaton. She's the gal that used to be Everybody Loves Raymond.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
You don't know the show. That
I don't watch the show. I feel like I've seen the previous. I always assumed it was like a spin-off, or because what's his name grew up, they had to change the name.
No.
So it's a totally new show.
It's a completely different show. But why I bring this up, there is really a point to this. I bring it up because they actually, in one episode, the mom and the daughter go to a spa day that she bought on Groupon, and it's hilarious because it is definitely not what they expected. I mean, it was like this beat-up joint with this like heart-shaped spa that was dirty and gross, and the food was like cheese whiz and crackers. And so anyway, I mean, I just thought it was funny because the whole point is, definitely do your research because it may not be as good as what you think it is. So, maybe dig in a little bit and look at those reviews.
Well, I was thinking about that, like the same thing. I mean, what's your stance on Airbnb?
Airbnb, what's that?
Oh, Airbnb is fantastic. So Airbnb is this, you get this app, you download the app, and you sign up for an account. And what it lets you do is it lets you say, hey, I'm going to go to Salt Lake City. I want to go see the Salt Lake City and experience the former Olympic Village goodness. And so it'll say, hey, here's a list of all the people who have space for rent at potentially quite short notice. And it could be anything from here's a couch that you could sleep on, right? To here's a whole house that we're going to be on vacation in Europe for the summer, and you can have our house. Like, take our house. It's definitely a social travel service that really counts on it. It's sort of currency is the trust of strangers, right? It really assumes, and there are people who feel like on either way that they feel like they've been taken advantage of. Either they were vacationing and the place where they stayed wasn't as promised, or they hosted a vacationer who really ended up sort of trashing the place. But generally, the at least the people I've run into have had great experiences with Airbnb all over the world, and it's another great way to sort of inspire you to go to a location that you may not have considered.
Well, I think that's a great idea. You need to put that down in the notes.
I certainly will.
Look into it. Yeah.
Airbnb. Well, it's great.
And it's kind of that's sort of an adventurous take on it. And, I also found, I don't know, have you ever heard of this where you can book like a top secret hotel?
No. What is that?
Okay, so this is kind of along kind of the same lines as you were just talking about. But I guess if you go, I've never done this personally, but this is what I found online. If you go on sites like Travelocity.com, lastminute.com, and then if you go to like an unpublished rate hotel on Expedia.com, you basically type in the destination that you want to go to and the travel dates, and then a list of unnamed hotels come up, so you don't know what hotels they are, but you'll know what their star rating is and any details about the hotel. And so what happens is the hotels like this because they fill their empty rooms without having to publish like super low rates, but then you get to save a bunch of money that maybe a room would have cost $200 and you're getting it for like $75 or whatever. And I didn't know this was an option either, so it kind of goes along the lines of what you're talking about. So yeah, if you have a little adventure in you and you aren't stuck to a certain place or tied to a certain place, these might be all great options.
Well, and desperation breeds adventure.
That's right. That's exactly right. Well, and you said something about house rentals, and that would be my other suggestion too, is if you are looking for a place and the hotels are booked, another way to kind of think outside of the box is to look for house rentals. And this can be a really great deal if you're going with other families, if it's not just one family, because then if you're splitting the cost, it can actually end up being a lot cheaper. And of course, these house rentals, hopefully they have a kitchen. Is included, which is also a great way to save money if if you can cook some of your meals at home. So that can be an option for you. And the other thing that I would suggest is that networking on social media, because you just never know who may know someone who's tweeting out there, who knows someone else who has, a cabin at your favorite resort or, up in the woods somewhere or something. So I would suggest, definitely suggest putting something out there on your Facebook page and just saying, hey, looking to go to this place. Does anybody know of anything that might be available? And you might be surprised, of what you might get. Cheaptickets.com, and I think I mentioned this before too, with the feeling adventurous, but lastminutetravel.com are both sites that you can go to check for last minute deals. And again, if you're not committed to only one location, then you have a little bit more flexibility, I think.
They used to do, I don't know if they do this anymore, those like roll the dice airline tickets, where you just show up like an hour before the flight. They don't tell you where you're going. You just bring a bag and then you just get on the plane wherever it goes. You would have
to have a lot of faith to do that. Yeah. I don't know if I know I couldn't do it. Could you?
I think so. I mean, you have a week. I mean, assuming that they will also promise to get you back.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that would be important.
So, what else?
Interesting. Just a few things to keep in mind when I was doing a little bit of research on this particular topic. According to travelzoo.com, most changes in airfare happen from Monday to Tuesday. So if you see something on a Monday and the price looks good, you definitely want to book it. Then don't wait.
Because by Tuesday, you're saying they'll go up.
It could go up. It could. I mean, I'm not. Yeah, you don't know for sure, but it could. They're just saying that's when they happen the most. Business and leisure travelers are least likely to fly on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. So these may be good days for you to fly to get the best rates. So a couple things to keep in mind. Okay, so now that you've had a location and dates nailed down, you don't want to forget all the little stuff like, okay, transportation. What do you do when you get there? All of those things you kind of want to keep together. And we've talked about this before when we've talked about vacation planning. I think it's a great idea to have either a binder or some kind of like file on your computer where it's just specific to this vacation that you're taking. So anything that's coming in, you can put into this file. Just having everything all in one place, it really eliminates any of the stress that you might have later on when you're looking for confirmation numbers and things like that. So definitely suggest doing that so you capture everything. And then our vacation checklist. Do you remember what's on it?
I remember it has a lot of stuff on it.
It does.
I haven't looked at it in a long time, I'm going to admit.
It does. It has a lot of stuff, but it definitely has what you were talking about, like with the mail and, you know, if you need to get a pet sitter and all that stuff. But it has all of the packing, you know, things to pack for your suitcase and things that you might not think about. But it's a great list to just start. I mean, you may not need everything on that list, but it's a great starting place just to make sure that you have all the last minute details wrapped up and ready to go. So you're not fake planning is what you say.
That is the truth. That is the truth. Put a real bona fide check mark in these check boxes that are not fake.
That's right. And have fun. Have a good time.
Oh, okay.
You're going on vacation soon.
Luckily, see, part of the reason I could get away with a little bit of fake planning is because we do this trip every year.
Yeah.
And we've done it for years and years. And so we've memorized it a little bit. So
that's good.
But I still have a lot of anxiety around travel, and I don't think that's I don't think I'm alone in that, particularly just because, you know, there's a lot of noise when you travel. You know, it's not as much signal and just a lot of noise you have to sift through. Yep. And this year I am traveling alone with my kids, and so that adds to the level of anxiety. Having that, being able to plan up front and have trust in that system makes all the difference.
Make sure they're fed, slept well, and have something to do.
Yes. Yes.
Or you're going to get a cranky kid.
Well, and luckily we're going east, so even though we get in at like midnight, it's still, you know, roughly bedtime for them. So hopefully it should make the transition easy.
Absolutely.
So anyhow,
so there you have it.
That's it. I love it. So you're going to find the checklist. You can find that on takecontrolorganizing.com.
Yes, under the downloads.
And it's in the downloads there. You can just sign in there and you'll grab it. There are lots of other forms in there you should check out too. They're super useful. And you can learn more about this show at takecontrolorganizing.com. You can search for the show in iTunes. Make sure you subscribe to it. You know, we got this question about, can we listen to the show on the computer without iTunes? And yes, you can. Just because, you know, I tend to get, you know, I look at the data and I see, you know, just about everybody comes to the show from iTunes on their computer, but that's not to say everybody does. And there are lots of apps that you can use to listen to podcasts on your computer, in addition to just going to the website and listening to the show there. You know, that we have a little play button on the website. You can listen to each and every episode. But if you want some more information about that, you know, just use the Google and search for desktop podcast apps. And, you know, my desktop podcast app of choice is Downcast. I also use Downcast on my iPhone. Check it out if you're on a Mac. Otherwise, you know, use the Google. It's very, very handy. And then find us on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook. All of that is Take Control ADHD. That's where you can find us. I think that's it. That's all the news I have. On behalf of Nikki Kinzer, I'm Pete Wright, and we'll catch you next week on Taking Control, the ADHD podcast.